Shalom, shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Okay. I'm going to title this video. What was the title? Something around the lines of we are watching the book of Obadiah play out right in front of us. Yeah, I think that's going to be the title. We are watching the book of Obadiah play out right in front of us. Okay. Now, you know, the book of Obadiah, the entire book is about the number one villain on the earth, Esau, Edom. Okay. The so-called white man. All right. This book is the book that condemns the so-called white man. So if you ever run into a Christian, you know what I'm saying? Christians don't even know that this book is in the Bible. They have no idea that, you know. But if you ever run into a Christian who will sit there and say the Edomites can be saved, you got, you know, niggas like Deacon Akah, right? You know, goofy, deceiving, fork-tongued niggas, right? That sit there and tell you that Edomites can be saved, okay? This is the book you revert back to, all right? Because this book, all right, clears up all confusion about the destiny of Esau, Edom, and who he is, okay? And we're watching this book play out right in front of us, man. All right, Esau, the so-called white man, is being exposed. He's scrambling, okay? He's you know, the lies ain't hitting like they used to, all right? This is all in this book right here, the book of Obadiah. So without further ado, I'm just gonna read. I'm not gonna read the entire book, but I'm just gonna read. I'm gonna read through it. You know, read a couple verses, all right, and close it out. And we're gonna make the comparison to the so-called white man, because that's who it's talking about, right? At the top right here, it says Edom will be humbled, okay? And a humbling is coming for the so-called white man, all right? The Caucasian race, okay? The Edomites. All right. A great humbling is coming to them. OK, so this is verse 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. OK, Edom, the Edomites. All right. The Caucasian race. OK, not the speckled bird Israelites that look like Edomites. I'm talking about the real pure blooded Edomites. OK. This book is for them. It says, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Okay. All right. Let me get that in the NLT. It says, this is the vision that the sovereign Lord revealed to Obadiah concerning the land of Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord that an ambassador was sent to the nations to say, get ready, everyone. Let's assemble our armies and attack Edom. And that's what you see going on. OK, you're starting to see, you know, NATO and the EU, OK, turn their backs on America. All right. The American Edomite and the small hat, the Israeli people who are imposters. OK, you know, those are the Edomites, right, that are on Front Street right now. OK. Now, you got other nations that are Edomites, all right, like the Russians, okay, the Germans, all right. They all descend from Edom. You know what I'm saying? But right now, the ultimate, you know, problem of the earth that everybody can see is the American Edomite and the small hat, okay, the Israeli people, okay, out there in the land of Israel, all right. Everybody is starting to assemble. All global powers on the earth are starting to assemble, and they're starting to say, okay, it's time to attack, you know, those devils over there in the Western Hemisphere. So, you know, it's prophesied in the scriptures that these other nations are going to eventually shoot off nuclear missiles, okay, and burn this place down. All right. Verse 2, it says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Esau is greatly despised, especially with that situation, that Jeffrey Epstein shit that just came out, right? Now everybody's looking at Esau like, yeah, yo, this guy, you know what I mean? This guy's a fucking maniac, man. So that's where all them missing children went, and you know, this is what you devils been doing behind the curtain. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking at these Edomites like, hey, you're truly the problem of the earth. Okay? Even the other heathen nations are coming together and be like, okay, it's time to blow them devils off the map, man. You know what I mean? Let me get a precept real quick, man. Shameful spewing, okay? This is Habakkuk 2:16. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. Meaning, ultimately talking about how Esau is being revealed, okay? The so-called white man, all right, he's being revealed to be the problem of the earth. That's why it says in 2 Thessalonians, then shall that wicked be revealed, okay? So he's being revealed, all right? Everybody's pointing the finger at Esau, Edom. This is why these devils started that war ultimately, you know, for other reasons. But a big part of the reason why, you know, Donald Trump was so hasty to start that war with Iran, all right, you know what I'm saying, was ultimately because everybody is now pointing the finger at Esau. So Esau, you know, he had to create a diversion tactic, okay, to get, you know, to shift the blame in other places. All right. So now they're going to start saying, look, all of these goddamn supermarkets blowing up. This is happening. This is happening because of Iran. You know what I mean? Iran. And then behind the scenes, okay, you know, these devils are secretly scrubbing all of the Jeffrey Epstein internet off of the internet, man. Okay. So Esau is he's being discovered. All right. So now you're seeing Esau scramble. He's, you know, the enchantments is just the enchantment distractions is like clockwork all day, every day. Every week there's some new enchantment, some new album, some new fucking record being broken, some new gossip story. Okay, this is Esau Edom doing this. Okay, Esau Edom is creating all of these distractions because he needs to shift the blame in different places. He needs people to look the other way because he's being found out. Okay, that's what it means. We're saying his foreskin is being uncovered. It says, the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Okay, everything these Edomites have built up, the American pride, and we have the greatest military and all this shit. Okay, everything is being found out to be not what it seems. Okay, you devils, you don't have the best military like you used to. Okay, because now, you know, you could just go online and see the type of individuals that are involved in the American military. It's a bunch of faggots, you know, a bunch of women and homosexuals, man. All right. Or some mentally unstable individuals, man. OK, you know, a lot of you know, what could I say? Twisted shit, you know, as far as, you know, the economy of this world, how Esau has rigged the economy to go in his favor. It's just a lot of things that are being uncovered about who this devil is. That's that shameful spewing that's being brought upon his glory. OK, you know, everybody's coming to the conclusion that, you know what, the American dream was never real. OK, it was never real. All right. And it really didn't hold as much weight as Esau used to pump it up. You know what I mean? Because Esau used to pump up the American dream like, this is the place you want to be. This is the land of the free. You know, you get the best opportunity here. You know, it's people who believe in God here. This is the standard of worshiping the Most High. But then you come to find out that, you know, this country has been overrun with Satan. You know what I mean? Everybody out here is completely degenerate, you know what I mean, because of the GMO foods, right? And this is all Esau is doing, okay? So now there's a shameful spewing on his glory, okay? Everything Esau built up, all right, is not as tantalizing as it used to be, man. Okay. It's actually filthy and nasty. Okay. So let's go back to Obadiah. This is Obadiah 1. Well, this is Obadiah, the 3rd verse. It says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. Right. And that's because, like the scriptures say, the Lord has given Mount Seir as a possession unto Esau. Let's look up Mount Seir, right? Mount Seir, okay? Pictures, okay? This is why we say Esau is a caveman, because this is where Esau comes from. He's a caveman, okay? Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. This is where these Edomites come from. They come from the caves, man. They come from the mountains. They're mountain people, right? You wonder why, okay, all of Esau's, civilizations, all of Esau's empires, right? They've always been based upon, like the, what could I say? The structure, right? The construction of Esau's empires has always been based upon what? Rock. You know what I mean? Certain palaces made out of rock. The fucking ground is cement, rock. You know what I mean? Everything is based off the rocks, right? Because that's what Esau feels comfortable with, man. He's a caveman. He feels comfortable surrounded by rock, right? That's why it says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. Mount Petra, okay? The Roman Empire was heavily influenced as far as, the construction of the Roman Empire. It was heavily influenced by like rocks. You know what I mean? So this is where this man comes from. Look, biblical Israel, Edom. This is where this man comes from. You know what I mean? He was living in the caves. He was living in the mountains. He was living in the rocks. So that's why it says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. Okay? This is the information that the so-called white man doesn't want people to know. This is the information that the so-called white man, he's been keeping from the public, that he's actually a caveman. Okay? When you read in the book of Revelation where it talks about Satan was, he was sealed for 1,000 years. That's ultimately talking about how the so-called white man for 1,000 years, okay, this is after the Roman Empire fell, okay? After the Roman Empire fell, the race of Edom, okay, they migrated to the caves. They migrated to the mountains, and they became mountain people. They became the cavemen that we hear about. Okay, Esau is the true caveman. All right, the Caucasian race, all right, they're cave people. All right, that's why they're degenerate and they're nasty. Okay, and they're vile the way that they are, man. That's why they don't believe in the Most High. Okay, because they're completely carnal. They're completely carnal animal people, man. All right, and that's facts, man. All right. So for that 1,000-year period, Esau was subject to the caves, man. Okay. It says, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. Okay. And what is the bird that represents America? The eagle. Okay. Everybody knows that. All right. How many pictures are out there? Let's get it. American eagle, right? Everybody knows about this. Okay? Everybody knows about that the bird that represents America is the eagle, right? Look, you've seen this type of design on shirts. You've seen this everywhere. The eagle in the American flag, okay? And you know what? Actually, the Roman Empire, which the Roman Empire was, ran by Esau. Okay. Even their, the animal that represented the Roman Empire was an eagle. Okay. And then it tells you in the book of Deuteronomy, when the Lord told us that we would suffer the curses. Okay. It says something about, let me see. Because it talked about how we're going to be overtaken by our enemies, all right, he's going to come like an eagle. Deuteronomy 28, eagle, right? Let's see. Okay. Look, here we go. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 49. It says, the Lord shall bring thee, Salakia, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth. And that's talking about Esau, Edom. All right. Think about when the so-called white man, okay, came from Europe, right? Spain and Portugal and stuff. And he came over here to the Americas and he enslaved the Native Americans. All right. He came from afar, okay, to enslave the Northern Kingdom Israelites, man. All right. The Central Americans. All right. The, like Brazil and Cuba and what's the other one? Colombia, right? Mexico. Okay. Esau came from the other side of the earth to conquer the Northern Kingdom, man. Okay. That's a part of the curses. Here's the point. It says, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. You see, as swift as the eagle flieth. So that eagle points back to who? It points back to Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, let's go back to Obadiah. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, okay, who uses the eagle as their representation? Esau, Edom. All right. It says, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Right? Them satellites, okay? All of them satellites that Esau got outer space. See, Esau, he's not accounting for the day when the Lord, Yahushua, comes back. Okay, Yahushua is going to knock all of that shit down. Everything he got up there in space, and he's sitting there watching people and murdering people from them satellites, because them satellites got DEW, direct energy weapons, that come from them satellites and shoot down to the earth. Everything Esau got up there, all right, Yahushua is going to break it down, man. Okay? That's why it says, even though you exalt yourself among the stars, the Lord is going to bring you down to the ground, man. Okay? You Edomites are going back in slavery, man. All right? It says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Right? And that's ultimately talking about Esau's greed. See, the so-called white man, all right, has the mentality of the whole earth is mine. Nobody can have nothing but me. Right? You know, Esau's greedy. Look at the look what the American tyranny that has been, placed over the whole world. All right. America is known for just going into certain countries, going into certain places, bombing people, right? Setting up coups to take down the government, right? All types of shit, destabilizing the country just so he could get his hand on that oil that they got. Or if they got like some undiscovered precious stones over there, he'll go over there and just burn it all down just so he could have that. You see? So that's why it says, if thieves came inside of a house, this is pretty much what it's saying. If robbers by night, would they not have stolen till they had enough? Right. Because somebody that, usually, hijacks somebody, they just get what they can and that's it. But Esau has the mentality of, it's all mine. I'm taking you. I'm taking this. I'm taking everything. Everything you got belongs to me. He's greedy. Okay. He's greedy. All right. Verse 6, it says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. And that's what we're seeing. Okay. Because at one point the earth was quiet. All right. When it came down to Esau, he had he ruled the earth with an iron fist. OK. And all of the other nations, they kind of, bowed down to his rule. Right. So, these nations have been subject to Esau for so long that Esau forgot that these nations actually hate him. OK, that everybody hates Esau. But Esau forgot because he's been calling the shots for a certain period of time. Right. But now it's starting to pop out that, this country don't like America. This country don't like America. This country is teaming up with Iran, okay, to blow America off the map. All right. So everybody that's been Confederate with Esau, okay, is starting to turn their backs on him. All right. Especially the American Edomite, man, and the fucking small hat. Okay. It says, we're at peace with thee and prevailed against thee that thy eat thy bread. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. Right. Now, what does it mean when it says they that eat thy bread? Right. It's talking about all of these other nations that have, pretty much used, okay, Esau's power and influence. They use that to build up their own societies. Right. They use the influence that Esau had over the earth. Okay, they invested into certain things that Esau had going. All right, and it made their country rich. It made their society rich, right? But now you're starting to see that, they're full, and now they're starting to turn their attention towards Esau for, in regards of violence, pretty much. They're starting to turn towards Esau, okay, to try to wipe him out, all right? Because Esau is he's the problem of the earth at this point, man, all right? Because what good is having your own land, having your own country, but then the people in your country, they're degenerates, the women are out of order, you know what I mean? The next generation of children, all right, is on a spectrum of autism and all types of other illnesses, mental illnesses. This is what these other nations are dealing with in their country because of Esau, man, right? So now they're like, okay, you know what? Even though this devil, he helped us out, he helped us get to where we're at, really, we don't need this nigga no more, right? Because really, in the grand scheme of it all, this nigga, he just be fucking shit up. So now they like, okay, it's time to just probably get rid of him now, okay? This is what all of this turmoil as far as politics is, this is what it's all centered around. It's centered around Esau's, his back is against the wall. Okay, because everybody is turning their face towards him for displeasure. All right. Verse 8, it says, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Okay. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Right. Because of what Esau did to the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, the true Israelites. Okay. He totally destroyed our people, man. All right. And to this day, he still don't have no mercy. He still don't, these Edomites, they don't even want us to get connected with our power. Right. At least the Persian Empire, okay, we was tributary to the Persian Empire when we were in captivity to them, but they at least let us worship our Lord. You know what I mean? They at least they didn't try to hide our identity from us. Esau didn't hid our identity. He didn't turn us degenerate. He introduced a black culture and all this destructive all these destructive lifestyles. Is the reason why you see our people all fucked up and twisted, okay, in their psychology the way that they are, okay? For thy violence against thy brother Jacob. That's why the Lord is not going to have no mercy on Esau, okay? Because of what he did to the Israelites, all right? Let's see if, I'm going to go down a little bit, okay? I'm going to go down. Okay, let's go down to verse 18. It says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. Okay, meaning that the Lord is going to use the Israelites, the same people that Esau put in captivity, the same people that Esau vaunted over and he boasted himself, right? Because he had us in slavery. The Lord is going to raise us up, and we're going to be his masters, and we're going to be his oppressors. We're going to put him in slavery. Okay. You know, we're going to recompense everything he did to us. We're going to recompense that upon his head. Okay. That's what's coming next. All right. So when Esau, when he sees UFO sightings, right, which those are the angels of the Most High, okay, that operate those space vehicles. Okay, when Esau sees these type of things, he knows that his end is he knows that his end is fast approaching. And Esau's worst nightmare is, us Israelites having dominion over him, right? That's why he funneled billions of dollars, right? And he did so much to keep our identity away from us, because that's his worst nightmare, that the Israelites rise up, okay, and take him down and put him in captivity, okay? Because he hates us, all right? He hates us the most out of all nations on the planet. He hates us the most, right? So it's like anybody but them. And also everything he did to us, right? He know he deserve it too. So, that's the next phase for Esau. Okay, slavery. All right, all Edomites will go into slavery under Yahushai, under the Israelites, man. All right. Verse 19, it says, "And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines. And they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead." All right. I think that's it, man. Okay, I just wanted to, well, let me get this real quick. Let's jump up real quick. Verse 15, it says, "For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head." Yeah, everything you devils, you Edomites have done, okay, all of the wickedness that you put in the earth, right? It's all coming back on you, okay? It's all coming back on you. All of the lies is being brought to the surface, okay? Everything you built, Esau, all right, is spiritually being thrown down to the ground. And pretty soon, okay, it's going to be physically thrown down to the ground, and it's going to be destroyed to the point of, everything you've done being, it's going to be destroyed to the point to where it's unrecognizable. Okay, everything you built here, all right? The Lord is going to burn America down, because like I said, America is Esau's pride and joy. The Lord is going to burn America down to the point to where you won't even remember what it looked like. It'll just be, a land of just black, just black charcoal, black charcoal tar. That's what America is going to look like, man. Okay, no more buildings, no more of you Edomites involved in councils and making decisions on the navigation of the world. Okay, you're going back in the caves, all right, and you're going to be in hardcore, bitter slavery, okay, to the Israelites, all right. It's all going to be recompensed upon your head, man, all right, because you've done way too much, okay. Just that whole little Jeffrey Epstein shit, that shit is sick, man. All right? That shit that these devils been doing, man, on the low. Sacrificing children, drinking blood. You know what I mean? Homosexual orgies. You got to pay for that, man. Okay? And you're going to pay for that in the most severe way possible, man. Okay? Verse 16, it says, "For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions." That's talking about us Israelites. We're going to eventually, okay, take over the earth in righteousness, man. All right. And we will be the authority on the planet. All right. So for the rest of you heathens, okay, for the rest of you nations, all right, you're going into slavery as well, man. You're going into slavery right along Esau, man. A lot of you goddamn fucking Arabs, a lot of you Chinese, a lot of you fucking you Hamites, a lot of you motherfuckers is going to have a chain on your neck and you're going to be walking side by side with Esau, okay? And y'all all going to be in slavery together, man, under the Israelites, okay? Because all of y'all had a part in our downfall. All of y'all, okay, was right there strategizing with the devil, Esau, to bring us down. So all y'all got to pay. But the number one culprit of it all, okay, is Esau Edom, man. Okay, you got to pay the most. That's why the scriptures talk about you just gonna be wiped out after 1,000 years, man. After that 1,000-year period, okay, you're gonna be wiped off the earth, man. It ain't gonna be no more of Esau, man. Okay, you as a race of people will be exterminated, man. All right, because you're the wicked. All right, and 1,000 years into the kingdom, at that point, the earth is gonna look completely different. Okay, the law, statutes, and commandments are gonna be the standard. All right. Righteousness is going to be the only thing people understand. So there will literally be no reason for Esau to exist anymore. There will literally be no reason for some wicked ass nigga to still be running around, man. Okay. So, we are watching the book of Obadiah play out right in front of our face. Okay. Esau his back is against the wall. Okay. You know what I mean? He's losing the grip that he has over the people. All right. And pretty soon, that's why, it talks about Revelation 12:12. The devil is just going to come down with great wrath because he has a short time. Right. So pretty soon Esau is just going to go balls out and just say, fuck it. Introduce the mark of the beast. Bring in martial law. OK, we got to get control again. All right. And if we got to murder millions of people to reach that goal, we'll do it again. Fuck it. All right. But it's not gonna go the way Esau expects it this time, man, with his new world order. Okay, this time the Lord Himself is gonna stop your ass right in your tracks. All right, and then shortly after that, okay, a yoke of iron is gonna be across your neck. All right, and you're gonna suffer for everything you did, man. All right. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Give all praises to Yahweh Shai. Shalom. Shalom.